It's been a long time since we played this game. I actually gotta ease my way into the flow of this game because it's been a minute, because there's a lot of things that go on in sports. Sometimes we don't have the time for it. And but it's back. Fact to cap. Our favorite segment, well, one of our favorite segments. Obviously, Take for 99 cents is my new favorite segment, but Fact to cap is always a good time to talk about things that's happening in sports, especially what we're talking about right now, NFL free agency. And basically, we're going to read a couple statements that's going to be presented at the bottom of the screen. And if we agree with the statements, we're going to say fact and explain why we agree with the statement. If we disagree with the statement, we're going to say cap and put on our caps. So we might as well begin right now. I believe we have 6 statements. We're going to start off with Elijah Moore. The Browns won the trade involving Elijah Moore. Is that fact or cap, Zay?
Oh, that's a fact. You got Elijah Moore. You got a good receiver, a young receiver under team control for the next 2 seasons, 22 years old. And on top of that, you get a 3rd round pick with that. That's a fact. You can't even say otherwise because of what they got in value back to that Browns team. You got another weapon for Deshaun Watson. You got another draft pick to utilize in this draft for whatever you're seeking, whether it's a running back, whether it's a defensive tackle, whatever you're trying to go after. The Browns definitely have the assets to do so. So I say it's a fact.
I'm going to agree with Zay. I'm going to say fact there. I do believe that he wasn't used right on the Jets. I think, listen, me and my dad, we shared the same train of thought. We was like, yo, this is the best wide receiver on the Jets, with all due respect. You can argue Garrett Wilson. I know a lot of people going to say him. Me, I always was an Elijah Moore fan straight out of college, Ole Miss. And I believe that he just wasn't used right. They had him going deep a lot, used as a decoy. I watched the tape. A lot of people, they look at catches, they look at numbers, and sometimes the numbers don't speak. And he was open on a lot of plays, and he just didn't get the ball. And I think when you trade him to the Browns, who just gave up a 3rd rounder, who in the right mind is paying a 1st round for Jerry Jeudy, a 1st rounder? Who in their right sanity is going to pay that price? Nah, get a receiver who's probably better than him with less draft capital, and get him. He's a 5'10", 178 pounder who is more of your slot prototype. When you hear those size attributes, you think slot receiver. He's going to have the opportunity with Amari Cooper on the outside to play the slot receiver, and he can play deep as well. And he has Deshaun Watson throwing him the football. Yeah, they won the trade. I'm going fact.
Yeah, that's a fact for sure. And I agree with everything both of you guys said, but also the caveat that I feel like just about 20 teams in the league would have won this deal if they pulled the trigger on the exact same trade package. Anyone who has a quarterback that they believe in is their franchise quarterback, even if they haven't proven themselves yet. Elijah Moore would have been great for across the entire league. I was banging the desk. Chargers were down all those receivers last year in the middle of the year. Trade deadline was up. The Elijah Moore rumors were flying around. And I was like, this is the perfect guy for us. Because even when we get Mike Williams and Keenan Allen back on the field, he's still a starter. He's still the 3rd wide receiver in the offense. And he's going to battle for reps with Josh Palmer. And competition has always been good for wide receivers especially, but for all positions in the NFL. So I think it's a big dub for the Browns. And they didn't have to overspend, like you said, on another receiver that might just have a slightly bigger name. That's really all they would have gotten.
Absolutely. Let's move on here. The Lions have won free agency. Fact or cap? Go ahead, Mike. The mic is yours.
Yeah, I'm going cap on this one. I think they're having a very good free agency, and I was a big Lions doubter last season. So, my co-hosts and stuff used to be like, why don't you like the Lions, this, and that. I'm not a big believer in the rah-rah coaching style usually. But Dan Campbell is making it work. I watched Hard Knocks, and it got me to believe in him a little bit more because I got a little bit more behind the scenes of how the players are reacting to it. And it's starting to look like they're bringing in the guys and they're drafting the right players to make the Lions a really good team. So I want to give them credit. I think the Lions are going to be competing for the division next year. But I'm going with the Bears winning free agency so far. They nailed that trade, got that package of picks. For all we know, what they got like 5 or 6 picks in that package. 3 or 4 of those could be star players for the Bears and a team that needs them. They also, I think that is going under the radar, is turning what became a weakness when they lost all these veterans on defense, especially the front 7, into a strength. When we talk about what they've done to sign these linebackers and bring in these guys immediately, no questions asked, come on over. And I think overall, right now, the Bears are winning free agency, and I think they're going to make more moves. So
I agree. I'm gonna go Cap here. I'm gonna go Cap. The reason why is I agree with Mike. I'm going Bears. I think they won, and I think they had the assets to win. And when you have the number 1 overall pick, you just gotta hit. You got the lottery ticket. You just gotta hit and make sure you hit it right. And they hit it right. So they had the upper hand here. And you talk about DJ Moore, who they got, a number 1 wide receiver, a top 15 wide receiver in the league. A lot of people don't realize that they look at that move and say, well, they can add another piece. No, they don't. When you have a number 1 wide receiver, sure, obviously you could add something, else. Why not have a super team, right? There's nothing wrong. You say no to that, right? You ain't gonna say no to that, but still, a lot of people's like, that's not enough. That's bogus. When you have a number 1 wide receiver and a talented wide receiver, it allows your number 1 and 2 previously to be your number 2 and 3. Yeah. And now they're automatically better off of that. And they're going to be better offensively. And you talk about the running backs that they have right now. I mean, Khalil Herbert, we already know they already signed him. He already was playing the last couple of years. But, I mean, Deontay Foreman was another guy they got for cheaper than what David Montgomery went for. And they probably going to offer you same production. David Montgomery out here making more money than Saquon and Josh Jacobs. I mean, they signed him to an $18 million deal? And Deontay Foreman went for like $8 million. Okay, actually $3 million. $3 million to $18 million. They saved a lot of money for similar production. That was TJ Edwards, had 159 tackles. Jermaine Edwards, they got for $2 million less than Walker Smith. So I love what they're doing right there. And I don't think they've done as well. So I'm going them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Cap with this one. I just think, to this day, I do not like the fact that they let Jamal Williams walk, and he got signed for 3 years, $8 million guaranteed for 3 years. That just doesn't make sense to me. I understand David Montgomery's, he's talented, but I just feel like you don't let Jamal Williams walk the way he produced on his Lions team. He was the heart, soul, and engine of this Lions team, you could say. As the running back, he was the vocal leader. He was the one voicing everything, getting the locker room together. You not only lost a good player, a productive player, you lost a leader in that locker room. That's something that you can't really replace easily on a Detroit Lions team. Also, I think the team that won the free agency thus far is the Saints. You add a quarterback to that division, you possibly may win that division. You add a running back in Jamal Williams for cheap for the next 3 years, $8 million guaranteed. A guy who just ran for 1,000 yards. Punching as a goal line, damn near running back, almost damn near 20 rushing touchdowns. The man is a beast. He's gonna really dominate when Kamara's out and he goes in for the 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, or even goal line touches. The man is a bulldog running through the fence. So I think right now the Saints, right now you could say is winning the free agency. Of course, the Chicago Bears, you can't even underestimate what they've done, getting DJ Moore, all those draft picks for the number 1. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful GM trade right there. Like, that's something you only see in Madden. Like that was just so amazing what they did there. But right now I'm gonna go with the Saints because they have the best chances currently to win their division. I think Chicago Bears have an opportunity, but I don't think they have their best shot to win this year.
I mean, look, man, that was a good take because the Saints, they always been manipulating the salary cap. And they never had like the greatest salary cap after Sean Payton retired. That's why he retired from there. And he ended up going to a worse situation in the situation he ran away from. Make it make sense. Anyway, let's move on here. The Panthers will draft Anthony Richardson with the 1st overall pick. Is that a fact or is that a cap? Woo. Zay, I see your cap is off.
I'm keeping my cap on. It's going to be CJ Stroud.
Everybody got the cap on. All right, Mike, talk to me.
Yeah, I just think that the trade up, the Panthers are throwing out a ton of smoke screens, and I don't know what's real and what's fake. I think they're trying to convince teams that they're going to pick all 3, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson, hoping that someone will be like, hey, we'll trade up to the 1st overall pick because we want specifically fill in the blank, whoever it might be. They move back a few picks and still get one of the 3 is what their plan is, I think. But I don't think if they stay at 1, I think they're going to draft CJ Stroud. I don't know the reasoning for trading all that draft capital to trade up for, and I still think Anthony Richardson is a freak of nature athlete, and I see what everyone loves about him, but he's a project, man. He needs development. And if the Panthers learned anything from the Trey Lance trade, don't draft Anthony Richardson at number 1 overall after that trade package. It's one thing to draft him that high when you just had the pick. Like, your team already sucked enough to where you even just have that pick. That's already a huge investment in Anthony Richardson, knowing that you could have picked another quarterback or a franchise-changing edge rusher in Will Anderson, who's on this board and should be the number 1 overall pick in this draft if the quarterbacks didn't exist. So I think that they would have been overpaying for Anthony Richardson if that's who their pick is, with that huge trade package to move up.
I'm actually going to go fact there. You know, and this was a last-second shift in my brain. The reason why, and I know there's a viral video going out about how CJ Stroud at the pro day, I forgot who it was. I think it was Tepper, said that I'm gonna see you, you know, on the court somewhere, in Carolina.
McCown.
You know, yeah, you know, we could take that and, you know, run away with that. But look, they signed Andy Dalton, you know, a veteran quarterback, and I think that implied to me that they're going after Anthony Richardson. You know, I agree. If I'm trading up, I am not going after the project. I'm playing it safe. You know, I think we saw that with the 49ers last year when they traded up and they had the secret. Remember, it's kind of similar because even though you could say the Panthers are sending smoke screens, the 49ers said nothing. Like, it was just like, it's a mysterious pick that we're going to go with. And they just went with Trey Lance, and I was shocked. I ain't see that coming. And I think when you talk about these smoke signals, they're smoke signals because they trying to go after the guy that they think that people don't believe they're going to go after, in Anthony Richardson. And he has the talent. They was on the front line with Cam Newton. They had Cam Newton on the team, you know, where he won the MVP. So they know that guy and that prototype. And I think they want to remodel that prototype with Anthony Richardson. And I think they may draft him, sit him behind Andy Dalton for a year, and cut him loose. I'm going to say fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cap. You know, I think the more I thought about it, the more I realized the Panthers need a surefire pick. They need a guy who they know and believe is gonna be productive on day one. And I also don't think it's CJ Stroud. I think it's Bryce Young. I think the guy is he's coming from a system that is he was mentored by a leader. He knows what it takes to win. He knows it's all about W's. It's nothing else. There's no ego driven. It's about getting the best chance to win, and that's what Nick Saban teaches all these quarterbacks, teaches all these kids in Alabama. It's about the win, you know, and I think that's something that he's going to preach into that Carolina Panthers locker room on day one as soon as he touches down for OTAs. I think it's all the energy and the aura is going to be surrounded by just getting the win. That is the most important factor, and you need a leader in that locker room. More importantly, of course, you could go for the best talent. Of course, you go for the best higher ceiling guy, but you have to go for the guy who has the leadership value in him, and I think that's what Bryce Young brings. I think CJ Stroud's a tremendous talent. I think he's a great quarterback. I just don't have him as a better locker room guy, leader guy than Bryce Young, and I think that's what really decides who is that number one pick. You want someone who's going to be there who's for the long haul, whose energy is going to last even beyond the offseason, and that's what Bryce Young brings any organization. I think that's who goes number one.
It's crazy because this is like now a decade-old debate, right? And it goes back, and there's no one in this draft or in every draft just about that is as sure of a pick as Andrew Luck. I'm not going to say it, but Frank Reich was on that offensive staff that had the choice, RG3 or Andrew Luck, and he went with Luck. I don't know if he still feels the same way, because if he does, then he's going to pick Stroud or Bryce Young.
We got to see. We got to see what he decides to do. I won't be shocked though if I see Richardson off the board.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's why I went a fact there, because I just won't be shocked. But anyway, let's move on to this one. The best fit for Odell Beckham Jr. is a Giants reunion. Fact to cap.
Cap. It's cap again. The best fit for Odell Beckham Jr., and I'm sure we're going to talk about other receivers, but the best fit for everyone that's a wide receiver is the Kansas City Chiefs right now. That is a place where there is a number one opening, and I don't know if it's going to be Sky Moore next year or Kadarius Toney or Odell Beckham Jr., but there is a hole at wide receiver one for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's the best fit for every star receiver in the league. Veteran, young, doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm going to say cap. I think a reunion with Kevin O'Connell makes the most sense to me. I think he should go to the Vikings. You know, I said it last year. I thought they should have went with him. Remember, the Vikings was in a very peculiar spot. They wasn't the number 1 seed, but they were still better than half of the NFC. And it's like, all right, why not add another weapon? We know teams are going to put a lot of brackets on Justin Jefferson and take him away. You just lost Thielen. Who is going to be that number 2? KJ Osborne, yeah, we like the kid, but is he ready to be that number 2 option? Why not get Odell, who played under Kevin O'Connell, who played alongside Cooper Kupp and had a lot of success that way being the number 2 because defenses were trying to take Cooper Kupp out the game. Why not have that same type of impact on the Vikings playing alongside Justin Jefferson? I'm going Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings.
I'm going fact. I think a Odell Beckham Jr. reunion actually works out. You can make the argument if Daniel Jones had a receiver, even if he had no ACLs, a receiver in Odell Beckham Jr.'s talent, they could have went 1 more games. They probably could have went further than where they went as a Giants organization. You know, they were able to defeat the Minnesota Vikings with damn near backups playing as receivers. And I think Odell Beckham on that Giants organization, a team he's already familiar with Barkley, Sterling Shepard, the guy he already knows that locker room. And I think it only enhances Daniel Jones' play. I don't know what they're planning to do for receiver regarding like vets or like any sure like number 1 receiver on that team. But I think OBJ absolutely, once he puts on a Giants jersey, he is the number 1 receiver on that football team, and it's only going to electrify the locker room. Guys he's already familiar with and already have a cordial, like I guess a good energy about. And I think that's what it works out. It's gonna be a great storyline. It's gonna only enhance that play. And I think that play calling over there in Giants is way different than when OBJ was there before. And I think it's only going to create more space and more opportunities for OBJ to showcase that he's still a top receiver in this league, and also that Daniel Jones is amongst the better quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, we might as well move on to the next one right here. The best fit for DeAndre Hopkins is the Patriots. Fact or cap?
I'm keeping it here. I'm keeping the cap. It's still the Chiefs. The exact same situation. And I don't know. I feel like DeAndre Hopkins is even a better fit for the Chiefs than Odell even is. Because I honestly think Odell should be a number 2 wide receiver in the league at this point in his career. I think D-Hop still has the juice to be a number 1 receiver, but he's the number 2 receiver in the offense with Travis Kelce. That's a perfect spot for D-Hop. And if you give Patrick Mahomes a guy that makes his own plays, makes his own touchdowns, makes his own big, impacts on the offense, he doesn't need it to be created by the quarterback, doesn't need it to be created by Patrick Mahomes. It's just going to make him even that more lethal. And as a Chargers fan, I don't want to see it, but I can just see as this guy's trade value continues to decrease, the more and more the Cardinals negotiate, the Chiefs getting more and more likely to be a destination for him.
I'm going to go cap as well. I'm going to go with what I'm going to go with. I don't even know what I'm going to go with. I just know it's not the Patriots because Bill O'Brien is there. Remember what happened with Bill O'Brien and D-Hop? And how Bill O'Brien didn't appreciate him bringing his baby mama to the stadium, and that's why he traded him. Now he gonna bring that baby mama back, okay, to the Patriots facility. Nah, I'm good. I think he should go to the Bills. How about the Bills? Why not get another weapon for Josh Allen alongside Diggs? I think that's a good fit. I think they could use some more ammunition, even though they still need to address the elephant in the room, which is one in the football. Still, get another weapon for Josh Allen to throw to, and go full throttle and try to compete and try to get to a daggone Super Bowl, please. I'm going Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't think DeAndre Hopkins to the Patriots is the best fit. Multiple reasons. I think Lil just stated perfectly. You putting him back with an offensive coordinator at the time was the coach who had a big problem with DeAndre Hopkins and all that stuff, and then traded him for peanuts when that happened. So it was ridiculous to say the least. I think for me the best situation for him, which is, it's questionable, but also I think it works out best for this team, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers haven't had a top wideout in a really long time. Deontay Johnson is really good. I like him. He's solid, but he's not like, I don't think he's on D-Hop's caliber. I think Kenny Pickett, a gunslinger, a guy who likes to throw the football, is going to have a great time with D-Hop, who's going to get him a lot of touchdowns, a lot of passing touchdowns over there in Pittsburgh. And they know they love to throw the football, especially since the offensive line hasn't gotten better. Najee Harris is only having more frustrating time to run the football because of they already know what they're really going to do. Teams opposing Steelers. So I think D-Hop to the Steelers will actually work out. Him and Deontay Johnson paired up in that Steelers organization.
Shout
All
out to
right.
the Ravens also. Shout out to the Ravens also.
Yeah, the Ravens could use a wide
Lamar,
receiver. They
grab some
could.
D-Hop for him.
Yeah. I think Odell Beckham more so than D-Hop over there is a better fit, but I don't know. We gotta see. All I know is that market is heating up. Anyway, let's end off here with our last fact to cap. The Eagles have done enough in free agency to make another Super Bowl run. Is that fact or cap?
I'm gonna say cap, but it's not because I don't think the Eagles can make a Super Bowl run. It's because they've lost a bunch of guys, a bunch of veterans, and I don't think they necessarily have one free agency, but they've kept a few key components. And I'll say I think what they did to give them a chance at another Super Bowl run this year is what they've done in the last couple of drafts, more so than anything. When you look at the roster, they got Devonta Smith in the last couple of drafts, Kenneth Gainwell in the last couple of drafts. They've got their Kelsey replacement already ready to go on the interior offensive line. And if you go and look at the defensive side of the ball, we're going to find out how good Nakobe Dean can be this year. And we're going to find out how good Jordan Davis can be this year. And if he's a game wrecker, a similar level player to what Fletcher Cox has been for this team for decades now, they did it. They kept a really good team together, but they did it in the last couple of drafts, not necessarily this free agency.
I mean, look, I'm going to go fact there. And the reason why I'm going to go fact is because they kept their Super Bowl winning culture intact. They still got their cornerbacks. I would have been hella worried if Darius Slay was out. Okay, they kept those two guys over there, so they still got their secondary intact. They lost a lot of depth, so they don't have the depth that they once had. But if they can stay from being injury riddled, then they should be top heavy enough to compete in a wide open contending NFC. I'm gonna go fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cap. With the Eagles have done enough in free agency. I think they lost their best tacklers in that linebacker front to other teams. I think their defense is taking a huge hit from pressure position. I know that if a lot of people, Hargrave was a huge loss for that defense. A guy who's creating pressure. I know a lot of people are on the Jordan Davis bandwagon. I think he's going to be a solid football player. I don't think otherwise. I just don't know if he's going to produce the same way Hargrave produced last season. I think there's a lot more expectation of the NFC East now more than last year, if that makes any sense. I think the Eagles, people are already anticipating what the Eagles will do, especially since they lost most of their coordinators. Most of that coaching staff is gone, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be interesting what happens now with the players coming back, and then also what is Jalen Hurts going to do, because he stated before the season ended he wanted a contract extension before the season started, and it doesn't seem like any news regarding that has happened yet, or if it's even begun. So that's something that's going to be interesting as well. And so I think right now I'm saying cap. I don't think they've done enough to say they're making another Super Bowl run.
I think for me, like, the most fascinating, how can I say it, puzzling talk when you talk about the Eagles more so than the free agency is the coordinators that they lost. The Stain Steichens, the Gennins, they lost those guys. How is that going to affect Jalen Hurts and that defensive side of the ball more so than the plays that they lost in free agency?
49ers winning the NFC. I'm telling you right now, calling it.
Calling the shot. Yep, I feel you. I mean, it's going to be wide open, man. It's going to be wide open. We're going to see who's going to take the NFC next year. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up another episode of 99 Pod. It's not 1999 anymore. And once again, like and subscribe to the channel, get them notifications. And Mike, before we depart officially, by all means, plug yourself in.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to need a lot of followers now because TikTok is getting banned. But if you guys want to follow me for a short amount of time on TikTok, it's NFL Mike. But we're moving everything over to Instagram and Clapper. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Clapper. It's basically a TikTok clone, but it's ran out of Texas, so Congress can't complain about it until something's uncovered that they just completely make up. But, yeah, so Clapper, NFL Mike, go follow me and pray for TikTok. That's all I got to say.
Did they give an official date that they were moving TikTok?
No, they haven't yet, but I don't know if you watched did you watch any of it?
I didn't watch the little trial, whatever that was happening. Nah, I didn't watch.
Not a single one of those guys are in favor of TikTok. I'll tell you that much. They were grilling this guy. They were grilling the CEO. Who, man. I did some research on the CEO, by the way, is not from China. He was born in Singapore, lived in London, grew up in London most of his life, then lived in the United States most of his adult life.
Yeah. I mean, listen, stay woke, y'all. That's all I can say. Stay woke. I'm gonna definitely get up on the TikTok now that I might not have it soon. So I'm gonna make sure I upload some of the clips to TikTok over the weekend. You're gonna see me coming in with punches, okay? Cause listen, I gotta make use of the internet, bro. It's not like we getting any type of push with the podcast and organizations and corporations trying to help out the struggling podcast, right? So now we losing TikTok too. Yeah, okay. Stay woke. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm Zay. Of course, I'm always looking forward to the next one. NFL Mike, once again, you're always welcome to come on. And yeah, we depart.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You're just slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.